Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Michelle Edmonds, and we're going to have another brief conversation today. But this time I want to address something that came up in the news. It involved our Attorney General, Dr. Jerome Adams, and who, by the way, I am very proud of, and I want to make sure that everyone knows it. And if he ever watches this, I want to make sure that he knows it as well. However, the Attorney General recently got on one of the press conferences and announced that African Americans are the at greatest risk for contracting coronavirus and from dying from it. We're going to address and see if we can unpack some of that a little bit. I thought it was appropriate since I am the author of the Serenity Weight Loss and Detoxification Program. I'm always speaking first, by the way, to current enrollees. And so, for those of you that are signing in, joining in, you're following me, get what you can from this. Hit me up with some questions. You can always reach me by through Facebook, Serenity Weight Loss. But let's see what we can do. And we're probably going to have a few conversations around this subject. The first point is you need to know that African Americans are the heaviest race of people in the world. That is a fact. It has nothing to do with bias or prejudice or stereotypes. It is a fact. And within the African American race, African American women are heavier than African American men. That means African American women are the single heaviest subset of people in the world. Now, with that said, Dr. Jerome Adams, the Attorney General, gets on a press conference and states African Americans are most predisposed to getting and dying from coronavirus. Oh, what a stir that caused. You know why? Because many of African Americans community did not even think for a minute there that you could get coronavirus because it came from China. They were blocking European countries, and African Americans did not see that Africa was blocked. No one from Morocco was blocked. No one from Belize, Trinidad, Tobago, Bermuda was blocked from coming in the country. So that made it confusing, everyone. Let's talk real. And I'm not sure if someone other than an African American could even talk this way. Because if it was a white person, they'd be called prejudice. And if it were any other ethnic group, it would be, what do they know? So let's unpack this, guys. Let's spend about 10 more minutes, and then we're going to keep going. Looking at first the statistics. Let's go facts. Facts matter. So now we have predisposed ourselves to coronavirus, unbeknownst to us. So now we're going to talk to two different groups. We're going to first talk to the medical establishment, and then I'm going to talk to African Americans. I'm going to ask two questions on each side. To the larger group, would you please stop separating African Americans when you get their lab tests? All of you have seen it. No one says a word, though. On your CBC lab test, it'll say African Americans, and they're allowed to be higher under the glucose score. For all others, all non-whites, there is a different number that's permitted. It is lower. Stop allowing African Americans to run higher on the glucose or the diabetes score, because that predisposes us to diabetes. Stop using the term pre-diabetic when you're talking to an African American patient. Because if they were pre, that means you saw something that was high. Tell them. Stop playing patty cake so that African American patients can make the necessary early corrections that they need to make. And that I don't have so much work to do when they come to me. When they tell me, I'm pre-diabetic with an A1C score. You know, as any doctor knows, that if an A1C score is taken, and if that patient did not pay out of pocket, you know that the insurance company was told that that patient was diabetic. And now with the A1C score, you're trying to find out for how long and how long it's been high. Please clarify that for your patients. Will you do us that favor? So that we, number one, are not allowed to go higher. That's the CBC test. Would you please talk to LabCorp, Quest, and tell them to stop giving separate scores by race? I thought we were all human. Do not allow an African American to run higher because it's in their genes. It is not in their genes. And number two, stop using the term that is misleading, pre-diabetic. Now for the patients, my clients, for the public. Gentlemen, since the fact is African American women are heavier than African American women, and since the African American race is heaviest of all races, stop telling African American women that you like their curves. While I'm an African American woman, I can talk like this. While you glance at the Beyoncés who on a bad day might get to 140. She's curvy. Stop enabling Black women to be overweight. If you have a sister that you're married to or dating, and if she's 5'3" and she's barely staying below 200 pounds, don't tell her you like her curves. Be honest with her, or if you are being honest, adjust your thinking so that you learn to love healthy women. Don't tell an unhealthy woman that you like her curves, because then she gets permission to keep going. Because after all, you said you love her curves. Don't do a Monique, because the moment Monique had a chance, she got rid of her curves, although she gained them back. Number two, I'm talking to now African American men and women. Number two, stop referring to if you release weight, you're gonna lose your butt. And you are big boned. There ain't not enough bones going around. You are not big boned. Big boned did not push you to 320. My average lady who starts the Serenity weight loss and detoxification program is 5'4" and starting weight 242 to 250 pounds. And I might add, 100% of all of those ladies that I've interviewed, and again, I've seen over 15,000 people since I started Serenity in 1992. 80% of my client load is African American. 100% of all African American ladies weighing 242 to 45 have been molested or raped by a significant other or family member, just like Oprah, by the way. And then when I probed, they eventually thought, even though they initially said no, they then would say, oh my God, yes. Oh yes. I forgot about my brother. Now we're going to talk to the researchers. Please understand that African Americans don't trust the establishment. We are under some suspicion that diseases are planted in our community, and it's not without foundation. AIDS, the Tuskegee experiment, where men were given syphilis, and a host of others, and then now today, coronavirus. Black people, African Americans, are rightly suspicious And let me prove it to you. If you knew that diabetics and African Americans, because of their weight and because of their predisposition to high blood pressure, were prone to get coronavirus, why didn't you say that up front? You told all of us that young people seem to be not immune, but certainly don't get it as easily. And then you added, people over 65 do get it easily. And when they get it, it's going to really knock them out. So let's be extra careful with them. And then you added, we're going to be extra careful with our aging population that are in nursing homes. That's how you began to explain the coronavirus. So what happened again? I asked. How did you miss, since I got my data from the CDC, that African Americans are the heaviest race in the world, that African American women are the heavier than their men? I got my data from the CDC based in Atlanta, where I am. So then why didn't you add that? And therefore, we are concerned about African Americans and all people of color and Latinas with how their bodies and their immune systems are going to respond to the coronavirus. Honesty, not attacking Dr. Jerome Adams, who really was just trying to reach his people and drive the point home that this inherent denial within the African American community, denial and distrust, is what fuels and did fuel African Americans dying at a phenomenal rate from coronavirus. With that said, everyone, I'm Michelle Edmonds, and I'm the author of the Serenity Weight Loss and Detoxification Program. You can get to me quickly through Facebook at Serenity Weight Loss. I appreciate your time. We're covering some hard topics. We got to hit it. When I heard that news report, I was both angry as an African American woman. I too felt betrayed. Where have y'all been? How come? What do you mean? Uh-oh. Gee, look at this. African Americans are dying at a higher rate. What do you mean? Uh-oh. And I trust Dr. Fauci explicitly. I think he's terrific. Somebody missed this one. We're going to keep unraveling it. We hope that we push authorities, MDs, researchers to take a closer look from a different angle. We'll be back. See you soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Hit me up on YouTube if you're watching me there. Follow me on Facebook. See you next time. Thank you.